last cup of joe, for now, at a Halifax coffee spot.
I think it's terrible when any local business closes.
Halifax transit fares go digital. Finally. What's the word on the street?
At the end of the day, I wouldn't go as far to say I'm impressed.
And we'll tell you who moves on and who goes home at the Battle of the Bands.
This is the Signal.
Hi, and welcome to our season debut. The Sidekick Café was a popular spot for many people in the North End, including students.
This week, the Sidekick shut its doors. But the story does not end there. Kinley has our top story.
People gathered for one final sip of coffee at this shop on Agricola Street. Customers remembered the good times.
Well, I'm going to miss all the lovely staff. I'm going to miss the wonderful smells, all the happy faces, and just the personal experiences that I've made with all the staff here.
This is not the only downtown cafe that shut down recently. The Coburg Social closed its doors this past summer. Now, Sidekick customers are looking to the few options they have left.
Well, I think it's terrible when any local business closes. You know, the people in the community are used to coming here. It's a meeting spot. You know, whether it be this cafe or another restaurant that closes in the area.
The Sidekick was sold 2 weeks ago. Staff told the Signal it took them by surprise.
Well, mostly just like people shocked, like they didn't know that it was closing because it was like so sudden. It was like less than 2 weeks ago. Yeah, we just got an email.
While they're sad to see places like the Sidekick Café shut down, they're excited for what comes next.
It's gonna be a vegan bakery and coffee shop in a few months. I think they're gonna do some work in the place.
I am sad to see this place go. I just moved to Halifax actually, so this was the first place that, kind of welcomed me. Amazing coworkers, amazing customers. It's sad, but new beginnings are on the way.
But before that happens, one more cappuccino. For the Signal, I'm Kinley.
Transit apps have been part of daily life in many cities for years, but not in Halifax until now.
Halifax Transit has a new mobile app called HFX Go. Thomas Scott shows us how it works.
No more fumbling around your pockets for a ticket. Now you can buy a fare just as the bus pulls up to the stop. We got on bus number 1 in front of King's. We showed our phone screen to the driver, and that's all it takes. Buying a transit fare can be more difficult in Halifax compared with other cities. There are no kiosks to buy tickets and passes. They're available at just a few dozen stores.
We didn't have enough places that sold the tickets. You needed exact change, which was difficult for not only residents, but especially visitors. So the app being on your phone just makes that much easier.
A transit advocacy group in Halifax says the app was long overdue.
So it's nice that we finally have that option for riders, but at the end of the day, I wouldn't go as far to say I'm impressed. It's pretty much exactly what I would have expected from an app from 2010.
At Mumford Terminal in the West End, people said going out and buying bus passes was an inconvenience.
It would be nice to not have to go to the store every month to get my pass. That would be nice. Also, sometimes you get to the store and the passes are just sold out and there's nothing you can do about it. So having the option of paying with my phone would be nice.
Very, very convenient. Like for me, because sometimes I do have to go out just to buy bus stop. So having those up and you can just purchase your tickets anywhere, anytime.
The next step for HFX Go will be a tap option. Mancini says this will roll out by the fall of 2024.
So ideally, it's the tap that everybody wants, myself included.
For the Signal, I'm Thomas Scott in Halifax.
Now we turn to some stories about local entrepreneurs. And Kaitlyn, you dropped by a speed network event here in Halifax.
That's right, Charlotte. There was a lot of energy in the West End this week. People were excited to find new clients and contacts. Take a look. On November 14th, the Center for Entrepreneurship Education and Development hosted a speed networking event at their Halifax headquarters. It's all about Halifax entrepreneurs making as many connections as quickly as possible.
What I love most about the speed networking event is that you end up making at least 5 to 6 connections. When I used to go to these networking events, most of the time you go and meet the people who you already know. These speed networking events make sure that you're meeting more and more newer connections.
Kekar says longtime business owners are here, along with new entrepreneurs.
If somebody has a business idea, we help them launch that. So it's a mix. I really feel that that's why these networking events are so popular.
Daylene Allen is the Executive Director of Business Network International. She co-hosted the speed networking event and says this is not just about boosting profits. It can also boost self-confidence.
Extroverts are the people that can walk into a room and walk up to a stranger. Not everybody's comfortable with that. Even though there are many introverts, there was nobody shy in that room. One-on-one, your confidence level is much higher.
Allen gives tips about what to say during a networking session.
If you go, "Hi, how are you?" not always exciting. So what we usually suggest that people do is, "Why do you do what you do?" or "What do you love?" And that's usually when there's a spark and a little bit of passion that shows up in somebody's eyes.
Nathan Stone is a video producer who started his own company, Vox Crow Productions. Stone says he hopes this event will lead to more connections and learning experiences, business-based or otherwise.
I always like to have something in one of these events, some kind of after follow-up, whether or not that is, we do business together, or maybe we just go get coffee and talk shop. You can learn so much even when people aren't your clients.
For some people here, growing relationships goes hand in hand with growing a business. For The Signal, I'm Kaitlyn MacNeill. Also this week, investors heard pitches from 12 up-and-coming tech startups. Charlotte, you visited Volta Investment Day?
That's right, Kaitlyn. The startups are vying for investment money. I caught up with the owner of an AI firm with an environmental focus.
Allison Murray is CEO and co-founder of Acuity. It's a business tool that uses artificial intelligence to tell companies how their supply chains could decrease their carbon footprint.
Their fuel use, their fleet. And we combine.
On November 15th, she pitched her company to a crowd of investors. The event was hosted by Volta, which provides money and mentoring to tech startups.
Welcome to the first Volta Investment Day in partnership with Creative Destruction Lab.
Volta provides Murray with funding and resources at every stage of her company's development. But her mission is bigger than the bottom line.
I've been working in the space of sustainability and climate change for about 25 years, and so has my co-founder. And so we have a lot of experience understanding what stops companies from taking action to reduce emissions. And we also know that the size of the climate crisis, that there's just not enough people to be able to help companies get the right data to make decisions to reduce emissions.
Volta Investment Day was a chance for Murray to share her long-term goals.
Supply chains are global, and they make up at a minimum 75% of a company's carbon emissions. And so as we build and scale Acuity, we'll be starting out in North America, but then we are building a global product.
Investors and pitchers mingled over lunch for the first hour. After the pitches, investors and companies met one-on-one to negotiate. Murray says the event came just at the right time. She says within 5 years, she and her partner will launch Acuity internationally. Charlotte McConkey, The Signal, Halifax.
Coming up on The Signal, a Halifax musician stokes his love for music, throwback style.
And
maybe somebody else will break them down and use them again, but the material's not going to go away.
these jeans are made for walking. A designer dares to dream big about denim. That's later on The Signal.
Musicians under the drinking age don't have a lot of places to perform in Halifax.
But this month, they're getting a chance to play live and maybe get their big break. Megan James reports on the Battle of the Bands.
Round 3 of Battle of the Bands rocked the pavilion at the Lighthouse Art Center last week. It was an all-ages event on a professional stage for local bands to showcase their talents.
It's a completely different environment. Like here we're up on a stage away from the crowd, like the lights are going and everything. It's a way different rush. Like it's a different feeling.
Being the smallest band does not intimidate Sig Sauer. It encourages them. Made up of members fired from the same band, Convulsion formed. Playing together for the second time, they appreciate having the opportunity to perform.
We have a few local venues that do all ages shows, but it's very, very limited in Halifax. So, we're thankful that we can come here and do this kind of stuff.
But it's great that they have a youth option because it gives us a time to shine.
And just play more shows, have more fun, and just be part of the community again,
Hospital Gossip highlights the impact of having industry professionals involved in the event.
Real industry professionals out here doing sound and lights, and watching the lighting guy go, boom, I know what you need for lights, and watching that make the look of their show match the sound was just awesome.
Convulsion won round 3. There's one round left. But first, it's time for a night of moshing and headbanging. Everyone left with a smile and plans to mosh another day. Megan James, The Signal, Halifax.
A Halifax musician has turned his passion into a fully fledged studio.
Tim Jim Baker used to be a drummer for a rock and roll band. Now he records other bands out of his garage. And as Landon Morris found out, it's like a blast from the past.
I go by Tim Jim Baker. I'll be 46 in a couple of weeks, and so getting old. Tinkering around with electronics and making music is a big part of my life. I finished up with MacNeill Torpedo. My firstborn son was born, and the road life and the road salary wasn't really cutting it for me, and I had to make some choices. So I took a real job. And I moved out here to Shad Bay. I've always been really into recording and making music. I always wanted to have a spot where I could put some instruments and some recording gear. And so I just started working on that. At the time, I had no money. 10, 15 years ago, there was a lot of tape machines and stuff that were in pretty bad shape that needed some love, and people sort of letting them go on the cheap. So I just figured out if I could get them and then fix them and make them work, I could maybe set up a studio and not have to take out a massive bank loan. And it took 10 years really to build the place and kind of get things to how I like it, both financially and just finding the right stuff. People that are at the level that they would come to my shed don't really have a lot to like a big budget or anything like that. I'd rather do something for no money that is good, that I enjoyed, than do something for a lot of money that I thought sucked. Like some people are very regimented about the creative process, and they'll try and pick a time each day and do their thing for that chunk. But I'm not like that, man. I feel like if it's gonna happen, it's just gonna happen. And then, having a studio, when it happens, I can shut the door and start rolling some tape.
Next, a story about a library in Halifax's North End.
A library with books?
No, it's a plant library. Aidan Rawding digs up the details.
Meet Kayleigh Conrad, owner of the Halifax Community Plant Library. She created it in her neighborhood about 3 years ago, in Halifax's North End, on the corner of John and West.
The library really started just as a bunch of neighbors around the community swapping plants during gardening season. And then I decided just to put up a little shelf I found on the side of the road on Agricola. So if the neighbors weren't home, we could just put it there and then swap. And then I was like, oh, what if I made a little sign that just says free plants for everyone?
Conrad made an Instagram account for the plant library this spring.
It didn't blow up, but now we have about 600 followers, and people come from all over the city just to check out our free plants, and it's really awesome.
People can take a plant from the library or donate one.
So you're not obligated to leave a plant or donate. We want to spread the love and spread the plants. It's definitely appreciated to keep the library going, but the community has really done a great job keeping it going very organically.
Conrad plans to close the library this winter. It will reopen in the spring.
Very fun. Lovely.
The response to the library has been so lovely. Like community members from all over who would never really meet each other because we all live very different walks of life. We might only see each other bringing in the groceries. We've become friends. A lot of people have made connections just standing at the plant library, talking about their gardens, swapping things. It's just so awesome to see people from every generation, every socioeconomic status, because who doesn't love to have a little plant in their house or on their front porch or in their garden?
Conrad's library does not just nurture plants. It also nurtures relationships in the Halifax community. Aidan, Rawding, The Signal, Halifax.
And finally, we introduce you to Madison Party. His clothing brand is called Odd Food.
His specialty, distressed jeans, and he's found a way to use a big name to sell them. Kayleigh Stevens explains.
Madison Party started his brand Odd Food, previously known as Common Threads, to bring fashion to Haligonians for Haligonians.
A lot of the time you see people in Ugg boots that are salted right up to the top and stuff like that. And it doesn't make a whole lot of sense for Nova Scotia. So I think that it goes along with supporting local business, making clothes that are for the local people.
That's another aspect of using heavy materials, is that these materials will go on to be used by me, and hopefully the clothes will last a long time, or maybe somebody else will break them down and use them again.
His jeans are popular on social media and can be found in a few curated thrift shops around Halifax, like revved Vintage.
I like distressed stuff, I like vintage stuff, and I like to support people who make cool stuff, and I like the jeans, just well made, just touch me in a certain way.
I would love to see my jeans on anybody around town. That's kind of why I started actually, is I wanted somebody to take an interest in what I was doing creatively, and enough that they would want to wear it themselves.
However, getting his pieces into thrift shops is not the only thing that Party is doing to draw attention to his brand. He's also piggybacking off an image of Halifax Mayor Mike Savage. Tell me about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I use some of my Photoshop skills to get those jeans on Mike, because I've seen some people generate some excitement that way. Put your phone in Ice Spice's hand and it gets a bunch of people talking. So yeah, that was the idea.
Have you tried to get in contact with Mike Savage to see if he'd actually wear a pair of jeans?
No, I haven't. If that could happen, that would be amazing. I would put my jeans on any of the town councillors. So reach out to me if you see this. But
Party has begun a new collection with the denim he has recently sourced. He has exciting plans for the future of Odd Food. And if you're hoping to see the real Mayor Mike Savage in a pair of Odd Food jeans, I guess you'll just have to wait and see. This is Kayleigh Stevens with The Signal, Halifax.
Thanks for watching The Signal at the University of King's College School of Journalism. I'm Charlotte McConkey.
And I'm Kaitlyn MacNeill. For more news stories from King's, follow The Signal on YouTube or go to signalhfx.ca. See you next week!